Hello everybody, Steven here with Cardboard Coalition. Resvon's not here with us today, she's sleeping. Remember, she's in Toronto still. But I thought we would do just a quick video in the Start Playing Games series. I know I'm all thinking it through my head with all the ums. You could tell we're changing the background. We're trying to figure out what works, what doesn't, maybe give some more interesting visuals in the background. But that's besides the point. Today's video is really about getting into board games. And as I had said before, Resvon and I are still fairly new at this. We don't have this huge expanse of knowledge, right, about all board games that have been around since the 1990s or what have you. And I'm thinking about doing a video about the YouTube videos that I tend to watch or that I've been watching that kind of get me or got me interested, got me knowledgeable, at least to the extent that I'm at, in board games. Sorry, my dog's deciding she's moving where she's laying down. So today's video is just really basic. It's going to be about reading the box. I know it sounds really simple, but it's something I didn't even think about doing in the beginning. And it's about thinking about what games we want to play, what types of games we want to play, just the basics. And I understand if you've been gaming for a long time, hopefully this is just entertaining and you stick in there. If not, I mean, thanks for stopping by for a couple minutes and listen to me yammer on. But let's go ahead and get into the video. So really what I want to talk about is you're just starting, right? And you're like, games sound fun. Monopoly, I played that as a kid. It was fun-ish. Maybe it's fun for some of you guys. But there's some games I liked, right? And how do I get into games now? I would say the first thing to think about is who are you going to be playing games with? If you haven't already been introduced to a group, which is a great way, it's kind of how I got into it. Someone was kind enough to say, hey, you want to come over for game night? I was open-minded enough to not shut them down and said, okay, I'll come over. So that's where I started. But you might be thinking to yourself, where do I want to start playing games? Think about who you're going to be playing with. Are you playing with a group of people? Do you have one dedicated? Like I'm lucky enough to have Resvon, who loves to play games too. So I can think about 2-player games. Maybe it's a small group, so maybe 4-player games. Or the other side of me, before I had met Resvon and I was getting into board gaming and I first started buying tabletop games or board games, what have you, I was into inviting everybody in. Everybody. And like I said in another video, I had a friend who was like, oh, I don't know, that seems like a lot of people. And in my mind, I'm like, what's it matter, right? I'm new and I'm excited and I want everybody to join in and get together. And I just tend to be an inclusive person, let everybody kind of join in. So the first thing is to think about it. Do you have a big group, a small group? Is it just you? I don't think I have any single player games. These aren't all my games. I'm in the process of moving them up here from my gaming closet downstairs. I don't think I have any single player games. I have games you can play single player, and I do play. And some of the multiplayer games to learn the game, and I'll do a video about that too, learning how to play a game so you can teach it. But to learn games I've played by myself. But think about it, want to play by yourself? Do you want to play with 2 people? Maybe you have a friend or a significant other, a loved one that you want to play games with. Maybe you have a small group, 4 to 5 people. From what I can tell, that's usually considered the golden kind of group, is that 4 to 5. Like I said, or you could be like me, and when you have game night, you want to have everybody come over. Let's all have fun. What can we play? And that's originally what got me into Zombicide. You don't see it here anywhere. I got it downstairs, still trying to paint pieces from it. But that's what got me into Zombicide, because I was like, I can keep buying more heroes. So think about how many people you're going to play with when you first start getting into board games, right? That's a help that you can do. You can think about how much time you're going to dedicate to the board games. And that's another thing. So one of the things I just kind of want to show you today is that you can figure out on the box how many people it plays, right? And so usually, if you look at the back of the box, it gives you a lot of information. It usually gives you, I feel like I'm reading a story to a whole bunch of children now. Not saying your children, relax, calm down. But it'll give you a quick blurb, right? It says experience Jaws as a suspenseful tabletop strategy game, exclamation mark. I'm not a fan of exclamation marks everywhere. Your sentences should explain that excitement. But then you look on the back, it'll give you usually a blurb about the game. This is what it's about. This is what you're doing. Then it'll give you kind of the mechanics in a way. Most boxes will. They'll give you kind of the mechanics. This is how the game plays. And now I'm looking around for it. Usually it's with symbols. This one doesn't, but it'll tell you how many players. The age, it's always 12 and up, 13 and up, 14 and up, whatever and up. And then your time, 90 minutes, right? And that's an estimate, right? The better you are at games, the quicker you are at getting that time estimate. So you can look for the time. Oh, it also says it right here on the side of the box, right? You have 2 to 4 players, 12 and up. It doesn't have the time there. Or like, here's another one. It says it's not on the back anywhere, but it's on the side, right? You have it right here on the side. So you can think, okay, how many people am I normally going to play with? And I can be like, oh, hey, look, this one I can play with 2 players. Oh, and up to 6 players. So this fits a couple groups, 30 minutes to an hour, and it's 10 plus, right? It gives you age range. So if you have kids, and I would say most of the time, not all the time, but a lot of the time, you could probably drop a year or two. It all depends on your kid, how involved they are in it. I wouldn't say how intelligent, just how much you think they're going to like the game. This game over here, Dragonwood, what was it, 8 plus? I had one of my nieces, I bought this because they were coming out for Christmas, and I thought this would be a fun game, easy for them all to play, but I forgot one of my nieces is 4, she's 5, she's 5, I think she's 5, I'm in trouble for messing that up. She was 5 at the time, this was just this past Christmas, but one of my nieces, and I'm gonna mess up all their ages, is older, right? I think she's 8 or 9, and then my nephew is the oldest, and he's 10, I think 11, I can't remember, I'm probably messing up ages, my sister will want to smack me for that. But I thought this would be really cool, but I found the youngest niece at 4 years old could still kind of understand the game. She was playing with her sister, but she could understand the game. So if you have kids that are into it, you can look at the age limit, or how young they can be. You can look at how many players, and you can also look at how much time. So there's some games, and I'll do a video about game types and everything. I've had a lot of videos I kind of want to share with you guys with all this information I'm gathering up, and I've been gathering up for the last couple years, especially when I started buying games, the research I've been doing to gather up information. But you can look at how much time it takes to play games. I got off track there for a second, but what I was gonna say, some games are filler games. Do I have a filler here? Flux, it's kind of like a filler game, right? Quick, it's super quick. Let's see, what's the time it say on this? See, I'm looking for those things that tell you everything. Oh, it's right there on the front. Oh, 8 plus, 2 to 6 players, and I don't see a time one on this. Naughty. But this one is pretty quick, so this one doesn't give you the time. Usually, they give you the player count, the age limit, the time. Those are the 3 things that you usually get out of it. But you can find something like a filler game, which is usually quick. I would say 20 minutes and under, maybe 30 minutes and under is considered a filler game. And then you got games that take a little bit longer than the 60 minutes, the 90 minutes, and then there's some really long games, which I haven't played. Though some games become long, trying to learn it and teach it to everybody and play through it, and you're helping everybody with their turn. But usually most games range between, the filler games are 10, 15 minutes up to the average game length, which is an hour, hour and a half. And that helps you think about it, right? Who are the people we're playing with? And you can look at age limit there. How many people? What are their ages? How much time do we want to spend at game night, or do we spend? You're going to spend a lot of time getting together and talking and snacking, and that's part of the fun of game night. And then also, what would I do? How much time, how many people in age? You can find that on the box when you're looking at games. The other thing you can do is you can just look and say, hey, this looks cool. I saw this game. Got to move to the side because it's in the way. I saw this game. I originally sent a message to a friend who she loves Jaws. We were roommates a long time ago, and I just know she loves Jaws. And I sent it to her, and she's like, oh yeah, I think I might buy it. I should see if she actually bought it, or tell her it really is a fun game. But then I saw it for $9, right? If you saw the unboxing video, I saw it for $9. So I picked it up, and now I've played it at game night with some friends, and we loved it. It was a lot of fun. So you can look at a game and go, oh, that's interesting. Or like we have here, Marvel United, right? Oh, cool, Marvel. And then you look on the back and you get all that information that's not on the back because it's probably somewhere else on the box. There we go, the 8+ and the how many people. So we got 1 to 4. This is 1 to 4 people, right? Doesn't give you a time on the back, but if you look on the back, you're like, oh, hey, here's the quick blurb, kind of what you do in the game. Here's minis. You can see it laid out, right? You're like, oh, that's cool. Or Horrified, a horror game. I guess Jaws is kind of a horror game. So you could look at the game and go, hey, that's interesting. It's another way you can pick games. So we have how many people you're playing with, age of the people you're playing with, time that wants to be spent while playing, the art. Does the game look kind of cool? And then the other thing is you can know there's certain game types that you might find interesting. And how you'll find that is by reading the back, looking at how the game plays, and you think, hey, you know what, that sounds like it's fun, right? I think I want to play that. Or the theme, right? Here's Back to the Future, the theme. So those are ways that you can go in and look and decide how to pick a game. And I've helped people. I tend to be a talker, so when I see people looking at games, it's usually in big box stores. I'll kind of stop if they've been looking for a minute, because I kind of stop at big box stores, which are like your Target and your Walmart, of course, in America, North America, your Target and your Walmart, and like Barnes and Noble is considered kind of a big box store. I'm sure there's a couple more in there I'm just not thinking of. But if I see people looking at stuff, I'll be like, oh, hey, I played that game, it's fun, what are you looking for? And it's because I'm a talker, I try to help them. But you can look through it, right? And you can say, here's my criteria for a game. You can be introduced to a game by someone else because you've already been invited to a game night and decide you want to pick up that game. I don't have a game here that started that way, because I try to buy games that I know people in my game group or that game grouping circle, right? You might have multiple groups of people play games with. Games, if they have it, I try not to buy it, right? It's multiple reasons, right? But you could think of that game group, or you could be introduced to a game from that game group. So that's another way to pick a game. The other thing is, and I want to do a video on this too, or we want to do a video on this. It might be me, it depends on how long I can get together, but back to the point. The video would be going to some of the local game shops. So you can go to a local game shop, and they tend to be extremely knowledgeable. So you can go in and say, hey, here's some things I'm interested in. What do you think, or what can you suggest to me to check out as a first game? And it helps the local game shop. They're very knowledgeable. It's another way so you can get information like that. And then, and I was trying to think in my head, a third way, fourth way, whatever. And even another way, you can check out videos. That's how I started. You can go down a rabbit hole because you feel like you want everything. Don't think you need everything. Buy one game, check it out. Do you like it? I can hear my air conditioner kicking on. I'm so sorry. Buy one game, check it out. Do you like it? Cool. Then maybe move on to a next one. Because if you watch a lot of videos, I mean, you can, but don't get stuck in that whole, like, I need to play all these games because they're all great. They might not all be for you, right? So that's just what this video was kind of about, was how to kind of pick a game, going into a big box store, go to a local game shop, go to YouTube or whatever, Facebook, wherever you want to watch some videos on games and just start collecting up some information. Like, that sounds interesting, that sounds cool. That's how I've picked some of the games. The ones here, probably Marvel United, I'd already heard of, but things like that. All right, so the last thing I want to talk about, and I'll let you guys go if you're hanging out, and I really appreciate it. The last thing I want to point out is every game that's on this table I have bought or can be bought at a big box store. I'm glancing around. Yeah, there's a couple games I didn't get at a big box store, but I know you can buy in there because I've seen them there. So all these games you can get at a big box store. And we could talk about kind of the variety. You have I don't know if it's upside down. Oh, it's upside down, probably facing you. These are Funko, right? Let's flip that one over. Sorry, guys. I thought I had them all where they're showing. So the Pop Universe game. This is a area control. It's a skirmish game. You get all the fun. If you're into pops, you get the fun pops. The cool thing about this game, there's some games that do this, is this is called a expandalone, I think is the right word. And it's expansion, because this is the main DC version. But this is an expansion, but you could play it with just the expansion with those two people. Actually, Villainous over here, these are expandalones too. But so back to this. So you can find games that are like skirmish games, kind of area control games. You can find games like Villainous if you're into Disney, right? This is one of those expand-alones. And I have the main Villainous down here. I have Marvel Villainous, boop, 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 down here at the bottom, and then some more expansions. I'm waiting for one. My comic shop didn't get it. We won't get into all that drama, right? But there's expansions, expand-alones, and these play up to 3 players. So there's 3 different players that can play in this box. How to explain this game? Maybe we should do a video on it. It gets a little complicated. Not to play, it's easy to play, but each person plays in their own way. So that's where I would say it gets a little complicated. So you have that. At big box stores, you can get these party games. So I believe this is Llamas Unleashed. Llamas Unleashed. Untamed, or unstable, I was gonna say untamed. Unstable unicorns. A lot of people tend to like this party. It's a party card game, right? It's just fun, you're collecting up unicorns. Right here on the front of the box, you're like, oh, I could play 2 to, lighting, 2 to 8 players, see, party game. 2 to 8 players, it's 30 to 45 minutes, 14 plus, you could probably play it a little younger, but I think even in this one, there's some slightly more adult orientated, like the extremely feral unicorn, I think, because it has lots of baby unicorns, so you get more unicorns in your stable. So you have like these party games. This is also by the same people who do this, and it's kind of a dungeon crawler party game. Let's see. Yeah, 2 to 6, even with this one. I was trying to think, and I've played it. Most people tend to like it that play this game with me. It's kind of a card setup too. You're trying to get so many explorers. I'm probably saying it wrong for all you D&D players. I'm sorry. But 4 people in your exploring guild to go down in, right? Here to slay. And so it's kind of a card collection, but more of a fantasy version. Like I said, you have Jaws. So if you like movies, you have Jaws, you have Back to the Future. If you like, and also, I mean, movies in a sense, kind of horror movies. This is like a fun, Horrified is a fun, lightweight, which means not very difficult to understand or play through or to teach. A lightweight thing where you're trying to fight the classic movie monsters, right? So you have Dracula and Frankenstein and all that. Or you have things like Marvel United, right? And this one is a co-op and you're just fighting a villain. There's a villain, there's 3 villains in the box, there's a handful of heroes, and you're just fighting them together. You're trying to clear the city of thugs and beat the villain. You can get games like this, which I also, at big box stores, which I also encourage, is The Fox in the Forest, right? And this is a trick-taking, which like I said, I'm gonna do a video on game types. It's a trick-taking 2-person game. You're basically winning hands of cards. If you played Hearts, kind of similar. Then this one is an oldie but goodie, and some people don't like it. Lots of people love it. It's a party game. It's called One Night Werewolf. You're trying to figure out who the werewolf is. You can get this at a box store, a big box store, without a problem. Then you have like Flush. This is, I think, set collection. Flux, sorry. And there's different versions. There's a Jumanji, I think. There's a Harry Potter. There's a regular. There's a Science Flux. But I know this Flux and one other one I can't think off the top of my head. Is it the Harry Potter or the Jumanji? I think it's the Jumanji. I know because I got this one at a big box store and the other one was there. Dragonwood. This is kind of an adventure, little dice rolling card collection game. You can get this at big box stores. Yeah, Forbidden Island. I think this one is super fun. I heard about this one and I finally found it for cheap and bought it. It's kind of adventure, this island sinking, you're trying to collect everything up. It's cooperative, you work as a group. I'm not gonna pick all these up anymore. But then you have Back to the Future. You talked about Sushi Roll. If you've played Sushi Go, you're trying to collect up your, not menu, but your sushi dish, your meal. And it's a point collection, but it's drafting. So with this one, Sushi Roll, it's dice. Sushi Go is the original card game, which you can get Sushi Go as well at a big box store. But with this one, it's set collection, so you're collecting up things. It's fun. You roll dice, you roll it around. This person has a die you want, but you can't get it, or maybe you can, right? Then you have something like Mysterium, which I got at Barnes & Noble, talking about big box stores, but kind of not the one you would always think of. But this one, you're trying to solve a mystery. Someone dies, everybody else, there's a ghost trying to help, and everybody else is a psychic, and they try to help the ghost figure it out. This is 2 to 7. A funny quick story. I know I want this video to be short, but funny quick story. This was the first game that I bought on my own, besides kind of these collectible games that I tried to get into a couple years ago, and I just wasn't into it. It would go too wild with me in collecting. But anyways, a friend of mine I told him how many people were coming, and if he watches this video, you know what I'm talking about, right? But I told him how many people were coming, and he was like, I like groups being small, because he usually taught the games, to be fair to this person. He usually taught the games, and he'd have to help people, everybody. And also, a lot of games, and I've learned this along the way, a lot of games tend to be a lower count of people. So I picked up Mysterium, because I was like, we're going to have 6 or 7 people. So I picked up Mysterium at a big box store, and it was awesome. And people love this game too. Someone has died, the ghost is trying to help the psychics figure out who the killer is, where they were killed, and what they were killed with. It's really fun, a whole bunch of beautiful art on these cards and stuff. So all this stuff you can get at big box stores. I thought I brought up some more, but I left it downstairs. My Deadpool Yahtzee back here, I got this online, you probably can't find it now. But they have different versions I've seen, like this Battle Yahtzee. I think there's a Guardians of the Galaxy. You can get these at big box stores. This one was selling specifically, I think, at Hot Topic, which isn't a big box store, but I got mine online. I didn't bring the other ones up here, but you have like Cards Against Humanity, right? I know some of you guys might groan. Don't do that. Don't ever do that. If you're a gamer and other people are getting into games, don't groan about any game. If they're getting into games, let them get into it. But you have like Cards Against Humanity. Yeah, I don't have it. Here, I don't have Cards Against Humanity, I'm just kind of looking around, but Exploding Kittens, you can get that. You're trying not to get, I think it's the 3rd Exploding Kitten, and if you get it, you're dead, game over, kind of thing. So you have Exploding Kittens. So you already have a variety just at a big box store, and that's not counting going to, and you should, those local stores, right? Going to those local stores and just asking the owner. And what I was saying earlier, I'd like to do a video. I need to start emailing some people, and we would love to go to these stores. This is an idea I had, to go to the stores and but set up a little interview like, hey, let's pretend like I'm a new person to gaming. I don't know what game to pick, how to pick it, and just let the store owner kind of talk about games. You'll see their love, their knowledge of games, and usually if you tell them a little bit about what you like, they're going to point you in the right direction. If you guys watched the playthrough, A Shop by Me, and Shall We Play? Yes, Shall We Play is up here in the northwest end of Vegas. Now y'all know where I'm at. That's probably bad. But anyways, he's a great guy, right? And I was talking to him, and he pointed out a couple games because I was into Vikings. And I like dice. And he's like, oh, hey, here's this one. It's a worker replacement Viking. It's really popular, you might like. And that game was Raiders of the North Sea, which I like, Resvon likes. And he's all said there's also Champions of Midgard, which I like, and Resvon likes, another Viking game. And he named a couple, and I haven't checked them out, but he gave me some ideas of some games to get at. So you have lots of ways to pick games. How many people are going to play? Who's going to play? What's your gaming group, right? Or groups, right? How much time do you want to spend playing? How heavy, light, medium range do you want those games to be, right? And we'll do a video about that, talking about kind of the weight of games. It's just how playing it, teaching it, is it easy, hard, middle ground, okay, moderate, or hard kind of thing. So you can look at that kind of stuff. You can decide what games just look cool to you. You can look at mechanics, and you can say, hey, I like trick taking, and this is 2-player, and I like to play with 2 people, cool. Or you can say, hey, I love party games. These are fun, and everybody's trying to figure out who the werewolf is, right? You can pick game mechanics. You can look at the art of the game and say, hey, that looks cool to me, right? So there's lots of ways to kind of get into this hobby and pick games. And don't think you have to buy a whole bunch. Buy one game. Look around, find groups. And now I just thought off the top of my head, there are gaming cafes you can go to. I'm sure they have like gaming nights that you can go to and just meet people and play games. There's lots of ways. And if you're in the Vegas area and you're watching this video, hit me up. Hey, I'll play games in game night. I'm not afraid to meet anybody. I'm that kind of person. And I love to play games, right? Not in a bad way, in a good way. Play board games, tabletop games, stuff like that. But yeah, there's lots of ways to get into it. So don't let the idea of it scare you. And this reminds me of a friend of mine that I had. I met him through playing video games. We are both comic book nerds, right? We love comic book stuff. If you're a comic book nerd, don't get mad at me. Stuff it, because I'm a comic book nerd myself. And we're both video game nerds and are video game nerds. I told him how I was getting into tabletop board gaming, and we're having this conversation while playing video games, and he goes, I just can't do it. I just can't do it. And at first I thought he was kind of poo-pooing it, and I'm like, what do you mean you can't do it? Like, you're already circling the drain with all this stuff that you're into. He goes, I know, but I would probably like it, then I'd go too deep. I can't go that deep, right? So if he lived around me, I'd probably get him into this kind of stuff, into playing these games and stuff. But don't be afraid. Try it. Doesn't mean you have to spend a lot of money. Have a couple games. I have a friend I know, a close friend, who has, from what me and him talk, he has some party games, right? He has some cool party games. He told me there's a not safe for work version of Unstable Unicorn, which I love to play. This one's really fun too, but not safe for work. It's very adult orientated, 18 plus kind of thing. I love to play it just to see the reaction in people's faces and the laughs and stuff. But it seems like he has a lot of party games. He likes to do that, so don't be afraid of this. You can go anywhere to kind of check this out, right? And when you're shopping for deals, you can look at big box stores. You can look at Amazon, right? All those bad places we're not supposed to look. You can look all those places, or you can go to your local game shop. And you can get good advice and pick a good game, right? So the main point to this video was how to start looking at games, where you can start looking at games to find games to play, and how to go about it. And yeah, that's about it. How to start looking at games, and really getting into games, right? Getting into playing, because this is really fun. It's fun solo. Trust me, I've played solo. It's fun with just two people, because me and Resvon play games with just the two of us all the time. It's a great way to spend time with someone you love and care about, however you want to look at it. It's a great time to spend just alone time doing that, and not just sitting there looking at your phone, right? It's a great hobby to get into. It's fun to play with groups of people, right? We had our first game night. Now that everybody can start moving around and feel safer moving around now after getting past COVID and the shots and all that stuff, or however you want to look at that stuff. And it was fun just to get together and play some games as a group. So enjoy gaming. Check it out. If you're watching this video, check it out. Check it out. If you just stopped and stayed for the whole video just to hear what I had to say, thanks. Thanks for all that. And as usual, guys, help us grow this coalition. Comment. Questions you have, I'd love to answer questions. If I have to look it up, I'll look it up, try to find answers for you. If you just want to comment about something, about some of the games you see here, and these are all light games, or some of the ones that I have going in the background. If you want to comment about how the lighting, I have some lights coming, they're just not here yet. If you want to comment about the lighting, or the video, or the audio, we're still new at all this, or the new setup with some visual things to look at besides just me in the green chair, right? Comment. So, as usual, help us grow this coalition. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm Steven from Cardboard Coalition. I'll see you guys later. Bye.